Hey everyone, thanks so much for tuning in. Couple things I want to hit on in this video. I'm going to show you guys my Hinderer XM-18 3.5-inch Bowie and what I did to customize it to get it where I really wanted it or needed it. Let's talk about why now is a good time to buy Hinderer if you have not bought them in the past or been hesitant. And let's touch on a concept real quick called the Holy Trinity. So if you've been in knife collecting for a long time, a number of years now, one of the concepts that used to come up, especially on the forums over and over again, is there were three companies that you have to try, have to experience your own, in order to have a really good foundation of what good production knives are. Those were Hinderer, Chris Reeve, and Strider. So after 10 years of collecting, in the last year, I did pick up my first Strider that's not made by Strider. This one's made by ProTech. Chris Reeve I picked up a number of years ago. Certainly no regrets there. And I finally picked up my first Hinderer made by Rick Hinderer's company himself. In the past, I've actually been a huge fan of his designs, but for a long time, I just felt like Zero Tolerance did a much better job of producing his designs than he did. And again, we'll talk about that, and obviously that's reflected in some of the changes that I made to this specific knife. So let's move these out of the way real quick, although, gosh, these are all, again, some of the best CTs ever made. We'll come back to this one real quick, but let me show you guys what I did to this XM-18 Bowie real quick here. So first, custom scale. This is made by a guy called Sharp Dressed Knives. You can find his website, and his stuff is on Instagram. There's the contact info, and here is the original scale, just a green G10 scale, beautifully made, looked fine, but you know, being a carbon fiber addict, I needed something special. I needed something unique. So Sharp Dressed Knives had a little bit of this material left. This is called dark matter carbon fiber, and it's produced by a company called Fat Carbon. So obviously Sharp Dressed does all the machining and gets it to fit perfectly. So here's one. Here's another one that he made on my ZT-0393. This vastly improves the ergonomics of the 0393, so again, definitely recommend it if you can find anything in stock, which is always a challenge in our hobby. So that was the first change. You just needed some really cool carbon fiber. The second change, which you may have already noticed, is we're missing a flipper tab here, and this has been one of my gripes with Hinderer knives for a long time, but let me open it and show you guys what that looks like without the flipper tab. So gorgeous. Definitely improves the lines of the knife, the look of the knife without the flipper tab, but it also improves, for me, the ergonomics. The flipper tab was in a spot that kind of dug into my first finger here, which I didn't particularly enjoy. You know, Rick's philosophy is, of course, you know, hard use, EMT, tactical, all those things. So obviously for those intents and purposes, the forward guard would make a lot of sense, but I've never found a need in my life where I really need a forward guard. So again, it's fine. It fits my hand better, and it looks tremendously better. One of the other things that I dislike about Hinderer knives with flipper tabs is just the the effective and aggressive jimping here on the top of the knife. When you're using that flipper tab, you're almost always dragging your finger across it, and it's just not the most pleasant experience. Can you live with it? Absolutely. But again, it's my knife, my money, so I did what I wanted, and I like it much better this way. So let me show you guys kind of, again, what that looks like here without the flipper tab. Just outstanding. Outstanding. Just beautiful. I mean, the Bowie shape here is obviously one of the most attractive blade shapes that he makes, so just a really cool piece overall. And really nice action on those bearings and with the tri-way pivot system, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But anyways, those were the changes that I made. Again, some really cool carbon fiber. Had the flipper tab ground off. So let's talk about who did the flipper tab for me, because obviously I didn't do it. So there's a guy on Instagram. He goes by recalcitrant American. His name is Sean. He does a lot of mod work for custom knives, spa work, things get refurbished. And a lot of custom makers trust him to actually work on their knives. So really good reputation, really good work. Definitely not the least expensive guy out there. So let's talk about what this cost. The stock Hinderer XM-18 3.5 Bowie, quite a mouthful, is $425. The scale here from Sharp Dress Knives was $125, and then the flipper tab removal was $150, bringing this up to a whopping $700. So that's quite a bit to drop into one knife. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it unless you know for sure that that's what you want and it's going to be a long-term keeper. Hinderer may come out with this configuration eventually, which is just the XM-18 Bowie without the flipper tab, which again I hope he will do because it looks beautiful. Again, in my highly biased opinion. And then you can always, the scale is what the scale is. You can get scales from Rick Hinderer himself or other people who do aftermarket work. Again, Sharp Dress Knives does really good work. So anyways, that's just telling you what it costs. You have an idea if you want to go out and do this. That's what it's going to set you back, which is fine. So anyways, again, this was my first Hinderer after 10 years of collecting. Why now? And to be honest, it's the tri-way pivot system. For a long time, ZT did it better than Hinderer knives. He's incorporated things like the stainless steel lock insert, which I appreciate. This thing's now running on bearings. You can switch with phosphor bronze or Teflon washers. And those were all things that I wanted and was hoping for, and now he's bringing them to the table. So, these are definitely the golden years for Hinderer knives. They're much more available. They're easier to get. Production's been ramped up. You can, again, put in whatever pivot system you want. They have some that have flippers and some that don't have flippers. And there's so many options from Hinderer knives and so much aftermarket support. Initially, when I had the flipper tab ground off, I was like, you know what, I'm going to avoid the warranty. Totally cool with that. Looking into warranty info a little bit more, I may not have voided it. They're basically saying there's a list of things that absolutely void it. Removing the flipper tab, as long as it doesn't impede the function of the knife, they don't screw it up, shouldn't void the warranty. So, if I were to send it in and they say, hey, you voided the warranty, totally fine with me. I had a freaking flipper tab, ground off. Again, the guy does good work, but I'd be totally understanding, But if I didn't void it, then that's super cool too. Not that I anticipate I will need to send this in for warranty work though, but again, there's the work on this thing. And it's really good. So, yeah, just now is a good time to get a Hinderer if you've been on the fence. D10's better. The tri-way pivot's awesome. I love it on bearings. The stainless steel lock insert is good. Just things are so much better than they were previously. And again, they're much easier to get. Back in the day, just a standard bare bones Hinderer, because he couldn't produce enough. You'd be paying $700, $800, $1,000 for them on the secondary market with no custom work done. Just bare bones one. Supply and demand sometimes can be rough. So yeah, but easier to get now. So anyways, I think I'm done rambling for the most part. I talked about what I did with this one, kind of what it costs to do it, who did the work for me in case you guys are trying to replicate something here. Why Hinderer is why now is the best time to buy a Hinderer. If you don't like kind of these larger or more tactical or overbuilt knives, I'd probably look at his model, the Fire Tac. That one does absolutely interest me, and it's just a matter of time before I pick one of those up. And again, I don't know if the whole holy trinity of production knives still remains true, but yeah, here are kind of my 3 examples that held off a long time to pick up. Nothing to do with cost, just, was it what I wanted? And, from these 3, it definitely is now. So, thanks so much for watching. Comments, questions, let me know. You can follow me on Instagram also as Epic Snuggle Bunny, and I'll see you guys on the next video.